Guilty or not, your life changes forever.
Jail is a funky place. It's crowded, it smells, and is full of despair. Prison is worse. You've seen the movies? Yeah, it's pretty much like what you have seen. No matter how many nights and weekends I've spent visiting clients in jail, I'm always keenly aware of the palpable tension in the visiting room that manifests itself in that smell. It's the body's chemical reaction to the stress, sadness, and fear rising from the crowded communal spaces. As bad as it smells, all things considered, when incarcerated, it will be the least of your concerns if you should ever find yourself in that unfortunate situation. My name is Darryl Stallworth, and in this multi-part series, I am going to educate you on sex crimes in California. I cannot stress enough that jail is not a place you want to be. It's not a place where you want your parents, sisters, brothers, wife, husband, or kids visiting you. A sex crime conviction can put you there, and depending on the charges and your legal defense, take away your freedom. Even with lesser incarceration, the impact of a sex crime conviction will have far-reaching consequences after release. Other than murder, there isn't a more defamatory charge. For example, you will be branded as a sexual predator. Imagine not being free to attend your child's school functions, being restricted from parks and playgrounds, and or being around children, including your own, period. In many cases, you may be required to register as a sex offender, which will dictate not only your freedom of movement, but ultimately your job/profession and where you are allowed to live. The stakes are high when it comes to sex crimes in California. Without basic knowledge or a guide to help you navigate the legal system, your actions could jeopardize your freedom. Now more than ever, it's important to know your rights, and even more importantly, to know how to avoid situations where you can be accused of a sex crime. In 2019, California had the second highest number of sex crimes in the United States, with 14,799 reported cases. Texas was first with 14,824 reported cases. The mere mention of a person being investigated for a sex crime usually conjures up images of the dirty old man in a trench coat. This image, however, is outdated. Those accused of sex crimes are represented in all social and economic demographics and include men and women, the young and old, and from every walk of life and profession: athletes, doctors, clergy, church leaders, teachers, students, coaches, trade workers, etc. There are numerous categories of sex crimes in California. Depending on the facts, the charges can be classified into two main categories: misdemeanor or felony. Before delving further, it is important to note that the content going forward can be graphic and disturbing. Whenever possible, clinical terms are used to describe physical anatomy. While the subject matter can be distressing, it is critical to understand the legal specifics of each classification along with their respective penalty. So, what are some examples of sex crimes in California? Misdemeanor sexual battery, for instance, can be defined as the non-consensual touching of the breasts, vaginal or male genital area, and or the anus. If convicted of this offense, it could result in possible incarceration in jail for up to a year, may be required to complete 3 years of misdemeanor probation, may be required to complete sex offender class, may be required to register as a sex offender. There is also statutory rape. In California, anyone who is 18 or over and has consensual sex with someone who is under the age of 18 could be charged with statutory rape. An 18-year-old having sex with a 17-year-old is rarely prosecuted. However, when it is a misdemeanor that does not require sex offender registration. If you're 21 or older and have consensual sex with someone under the age of 18, you could be charged with felony statutory rape. Oftentimes, it is the minor's parents who are reporting the crime. Felony statutory rapes could result in prison time and registration as a sex offender. Typical felony sex crimes consist of non-consensual penetration of an object, finger, and or penis into the vagina and or anus. Vaginal penetration is considered rape. Penetration of the anus is sodomy or rape. Oral copulation is the non-consensual insertion of a penis into someone's mouth. If convicted, likely consequences include incarceration in prison, possibly for life, and registration as a sex offender for life. Some sex crimes must be prosecuted within a certain time period, while prosecution of others can be commenced at any time. Penal Code Section 799 provides that prosecution for crimes such as rape, sodomy, oral copulation, and lewd conduct with a child can be commenced at any time. However, Penal Code Section 801.1 states that if you're under the age of 18 when these type of sex crimes occurred, you have up until your 40th birthday to request prosecution of the accused. All other felony sex crimes were PC 799 and PC 801. One don't apply must be commenced within 10 years. Once a case is initiated, the prosecutor is responsible for proving each and every element beyond a reasonable doubt in order to secure a conviction. Some examples of elements that a prosecutor must prove in a sex crime are force or fear. For example, the accuser was physically restrained or threatened with harm if they resisted. The less traditional but more common element that a prosecutor must prove is exploitation. For example, the accuser suffers from an obvious mental impairment or is too intoxicated to provide consent. It is this latter area of law that presents the most difficult challenges for the accused. Whether the accuser has a mental impairment or is intoxicated, it is likely they will be unable to remember in detail what happened. However, the accused is required by law to understand and appreciate whether or not the accuser had a mental impairment or was too intoxicated to consent. Beyond a reasonable doubt is the standard of proof in a criminal case. But what exactly does that mean? I advise juries that beyond a reasonable doubt means a strong, enduring conviction that the person accused is responsible for the crime. If there is any doubt and those doubts are reasonable, you cannot convict. The defense is not required to prove that a person is innocent. It is entirely the burden of the prosecution to prove guilt. A case not proved demands a not guilty verdict. While the standard of proof at trial requires a jury of 12 people to convict, charging someone with a sex crime is in the hands of the district attorney's office. When I was a young prosecutor, I was taught that charging someone with a crime should not occur unless I could foresee that 12 people would consider the case and believe beyond a reasonable doubt that a person was responsible. Consequently, it may take a considerable amount of time before the prosecutor files charges. Although this may cause considerable anxiety to the person accused, it is always better for the prosecutor to take their time to carefully review the accusation before charging the case, particularly when there is so much at stake. A wrong charging decision in a sex crime can cause irreversible damage. Even if charges are later dismissed, the accused will endure a level of suspicion created by the arrest and charges alone. Receiving a phone call or a knock at your door informing you that you're under investigation for a sex crime will undoubtedly be one of the scariest moments of your life. You will frequently be presumed guilty until proven innocent in the court of public opinion. In many circumstances, your job is the first to be impacted with a suspension or administrative leave. The standard of review for a human resources department is quite different from the standard of review for the district attorney's office. Mere suspicion may be sufficient cause to furlough or dismiss an employee. If the accused is under investigation and continues to work, it puts the employer at risk of liability should a similar circumstance arise during their employment. Sadly, I've observed these scenarios many times where even the most respected employee with multiple years of service is terminated before the investigation is completed. The cloud of suspicion not only impacts the livelihood of the accused, but permeates all aspects of life. Some of the most hurtful circumstances arise from social shunning. Friends and family members pause to consider if the accused behaved in a certain way around their spouse, children, and friends. Invitations to dinner, family gatherings, and events evaporate, and the accused begins to be treated as an outsider. They are unfortunately and unfairly presumed guilty. You may wonder, how does the public know? And how do they get this information? Well, as the adage goes, news travels fast and bad news travels faster. Add social media to the mix and bad news travels at light speed. Few headlines are more captivating than the news that someone has been charged with a sex crime. The media makes money from interesting and salacious stories. If you're a public figure, educator, coach, your story will get top billing and will be broadcasted over and over again. A while back, I represented a college football coach. When the news broke that he was under investigation for a sex crime, the story was not only picked up by every local station, but went viral on social media and ESPN. He was unable to go anywhere without being recognized or harassed by the media, resulting in a traumatic, isolating situation. In a similar circumstance, another client was accused of a sex crime, and within hours his photo was featured on the news. Although I was able to resolve both cases and later have them dismissed, The damage had already been done. In today's fast-paced media landscape, the impact of an accusation can be devastating, not just to your reputation, but to your entire life. As we've seen with clients like those I mentioned and others falsely accused, the fallout from even unproven allegations can lead to public humiliation, isolation, and a lasting stigma that is hard to shake. We understand the complexities and challenges of navigating such traumatic situations. We are dedicated to protecting your rights and reputation from the moment allegations arise. Our experienced team is here to provide you with the legal support you need to face these accusations head on and mitigate the damage before it escalates. If you or someone you know is facing similar circumstances, don't wait until it's too late. Contact our firm today for a consultation. Let us help you craft a strong defense and work towards clearing your name. Your future is too important to leave to chance. Call us now and take the first step towards reclaiming your life.
Don't forget to like and share this video, and for more legal insights, keep watching and subscribe to our channel.